Hi everybody, it's Crystal. Thanks for joining me today. So today I have a stitch tutorial for you. Isn't that a pretty one? The yarn's pretty too, I have to say. Look at that. If you look at it, it kind of goes a little bit of a texture to it. Not much, but a little bit. Now, this is called a scallop stitch, and it's very, very easy. It's just a one row repeat, and who doesn't love a one row repeat? So what can you do with this stitch? Beautiful scarves, beautiful tops, beautiful, beautiful throw, beautiful, pretty much anything you want to make out of it. It's a semi-solid stitch, I would say. You can see there are some small openings there, but not bad. But like I said, it's just a one row repeat. It's very easy, and I did a larger piece, so you can see that the sides do stay nice and straight. So it's very beginner friendly, as long excuse me, as long as you know how to double crochet and single crochet. I'll show you the rest. All right, so you're gonna go ahead and get started on it. This is what it looks like on the back. Same on both sides. Everybody likes that. I do anyways. All right, let's do this. Let me set this aside. Now, as always, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you have not already, turn on them notifications and give this video a like and leave me a comment below if you don't mind. That always helps out. All right, for this particular project, I used a Red Heart Super Saver Ombre. It's a 100% acrylic medium weight number 4. The color I have here is called Spearmint. And for the purpose of this stitch tutorial, I will be using a size, let's see here, what did I use? A size I, which is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. Alright, so this stitch is done in a multiple of 6 plus 2, which means no matter what you're making, whether it be a scarf or a blanket or whatever it is that you're making, you need to chain in multiples of 6. I'm going to show you on a smaller scale. And once you get it as long as you want it to be, in your multiple of 6, you add 2 more to your base chain. So 1 and 2, like that. All right, so we'll go ahead and start row 1. So row 1, we're going to do a single crochet in the second stitch from our hook. So we don't count the one that's on our hook. So that's 1, that's 2. We're going to go ahead and single crochet in that second stitch. And then we're going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch for the length of our chain. Like this. So row 1 is 1 single crochet in every stitch until we get to the end of the row. Alright, so I've made it to the end of row 1, and now we're going to start row 2. I apologize for my thumb. I smashed it, so that's why it looks like that. I don't mean to gross anybody out. Alright, so we're going to chain 1, which does not count as a stitch, and then we're going to turn our work. And we're going to put a double crochet right here back into the very, very first stitch. Just like that. And then we are going to skip 2 stitches. Skip, skip. And in the next stitch, we're going to put a fan stitch. So skip your 2, skip, skip. And in the next, we're going to go into it and we're going to work 2 double crochets into the same stitch, chain 1, and then 2 more double into the same stitch. And that's what our fan stitch is going to be for this particular stitch. 2 doubles, chain 1, 2 doubles. And now we're going to work a double crochet 2 together across 3 stitches, so with 3 stitches in between. So this is very easy. Don't get intimidated by it. So what we're going to do is yarn over, and we're going to go into the very, very next stitch. Draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on your hook, like that. Then we're going to skip 3 stitches. Skip, skip, skip. And then the next one, we're going to yarn over and go into that one. Draw up a loop. Yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on our hook. 3 loops remain. Yarn over and go through all 3 loops. There we go. So we did a double crochet, 2 together, but we did it over 3 unworked stitches, just like that. So it's pretty easy. So now what we're going to do is go directly into the very next stitch and do our fan again. So now that kind of is the repeat of the row. So let's go into we went into the next stitch. We're going to do our fan, which is 2 doubles, a chain 1, and 2 more doubles. That. And then we're going to do our double crochet 2 together with leaving 3 empty chains. So we're going to go directly into the next stitch. We're going to yarn over, go into it, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. Now we're going to skip 3 stitches, skip, 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 and then the next we're going to yarn over, go into it, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, and you got 3 that remain, yarn over and go through the remaining 3, just like that. And then we're going to repeat again. In the very next stitch we're going to do our fan. So we're going to go into it and work 2 doubles, chain 1, 2 doubles, and now we're going to do our double crochet 2 together, leaving 3 empty stitches. So we're going to yarn over, go into the very next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops, skip our 3, skip, 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 and in the next we're going to yarn over, go into that stitch and draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, and now yarn over and go through the remaining 3, just like that. So this is the pattern that we're going to repeat until we get near the end of the row. So again, a fan stitch into the very next stitch, 2 doubles, chain 1, 2 doubles, and they're going to work our double crochet 2 together, leaving 3 open stitches. So yarn over and go into the very next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, and then you skip your 3, skip, 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 go into the next, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, 3 loops remain, yarn over and go through all 3, just like that. So go ahead and repeat that pattern until you get to the last fan stitch of your row. Alright, so I made it to my last fan stitch, and you should have 3 stitches that remain when you make it to the end. So we're going to do our double crochet 2 together, but we're going to do it just a little bit differently. It's only going to be have 1 stitch in the middle instead of 3. So we're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch, draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. We're going to skip that stitch and into the very last stitch. We're going to yarn over, go into it, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, and yarn over and go through the remaining 3. And now we'll end row 2. So row 3 is what we're getting ready to start in. Alright, so let's begin by chaining 1 and turning our work. So that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. We're going to go right back into that very first stitch, and we're going to work a double crochet like that. And then we're going to skip 1 double, and we're going to work a double crochet into the next, just like that. And now we're at the chain 1 space of our fan stitch. So what we're going to do is work a fan into that chain 1 space. So we're going to work 2 doubles, chain 1, and 2 more doubles. And now we're going to do our double crochet 2 together over the 3 stitches. So we're going to be skipping 3 stitches again. So we're going to yarn over and go directly into the next stitch and draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on our hook. Then we're going to skip the next 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, and then in the next stitch, which should be the one right next to the chain 1 space, we're going to yarn over and go into that one, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, You have 3 that remain, and yarn over and go through the remaining 3. And then we repeat. So into the next chain space, we're going to work a fan. So go right into the space, the chain space of the fan stitch from the previous row, and work your fan stitch, which is 2 doubles, chain 1, 2 doubles, and then we do our double crochet 2 together, again leaving these 3 stitches in the middle empty. So we're going to yarn over, go into the very next stitch, draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. Skip your 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, into the next stitch, which is the last one before your chain 1 space. Yarn over, go into that one, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, and yarn over and go through the remaining 3, like that. And we repeat. Into the chain 1 space, we work our fan, 2 doubles, chain 1, 2 doubles, again double crochet, 2 together, leaving 3 stitches open. So yarn over and go into the next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, and then you want to skip those next 3, 1, 2, 3, and into the next one, which is always going to be the one that's right next to the chain 1 space. Yarn over, go into it, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, and you'll have 3 that remain. Yarn over and go through all 3. Now we're gonna, and then fan into your next chain 1 space. Now we're gonna repeat this pattern until we get to our last fan stitch. Alright, so I have made it to the end of row 3, and we have 3 stitches that remain. See that? So we're going to do the same thing we did on row 2. We're going to yarn over, go into the next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. We're going to skip that one, and then we're going to yarn over and go into the last stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, and yarn over and go through the remaining 3. So that's how you end row 3. Now row 4 is the repeat row. It's very, very similar to what you just did, except for we end differently on one side than we have been. That's the only difference. So row 4, we just keep repeating and repeating and repeating row 4 until we get to our desired size that we want. So row 4, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. We're going to go right back into the very first stitch, and we're going to do a double crochet, skip 1 and double crochet into the next. Now start our repeat. We're going to put a fan into the next chain 1 space, so 2 doubles, chain 1, 2 doubles. Then we're going to do our double crochet 2 together, leaving 3 stitches open. So we yarn over and go into the next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2. You want to skip these 3 stitches here, and into the last stitch before the chain 1 space, we're going to yarn over and go into that one, draw up a loop, yarn over and go to the first 2 and the remaining 3. And we're going to repeat again by putting a fan into the next chain 1 space, 2 doubles, chain 1, 2 doubles, and then we're going to do our double crochet 3 together, double crochet 2 together, leaving 3 stitches that are open. So we yarn over and go in to the next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops, and then we skip 3 stitches and into the last stitch before the chain space, yarn over and go into it and draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, and then yarn over and go through the remaining 3. And then again into the chain space we work our fan. So I'm going to repeat this pattern, which is pretty much the same as row 3, until we get to the last fan. The only difference is the way that we end the row from now on. All right, so I've come to the end of row 4 and I just did my last fan. Now remember, it's very similar to row 3, but this is how we're going to end the repeat rows from now on. You can see now we have 4 stitches left at the end instead of 3. That's the only difference here. So this is how we end it. We're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch, draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2. And now this time, instead of skipping 1, we're going to skip these 2. And then we're going to yarn over and go into the last stitch. Draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, and yarn over and go through the remaining 3. So that is how you finish all the repeat rows from now on. There'll be 2 stitches there to skip, which was different than the other 2 rows. So that's the only difference. Other than that, it's all the same. So you just keep repeating row 4, repeat, that one row. And after a few repeats, it'll start to look like this, which I think is very, very beautiful. If I would have kept going, this would have made an awesome super scarf. I love super scarves, like really thick, long scarves. Those things are so cool. But yeah, I like it. Let me move my camera and show you that it does have a little bit of texture to it. Maybe can I show you? Is it showing up? Yeah, you can see it bumping up just a bit. Not much. I guess it's kind of hard to tell on camera, but it does have a little bit of a bump up texture. Not much, it's slight, but it's enough to give it interest. So thanks everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. Remember, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment below. Let me know if you're going to make this, or if you were going to make this, what you would make out of it. I'd be curious to know what you would use this stitch for. So until next time, I'll see you guys on my next video, okay? Check out all my other tutorials too. I have hundreds of them. Bye, guys.